Today's a wild mix, a Halloween arrest over comics. The DCU's Clayface movie has wrapped filming, and the fresh images debut turning into a monster hit, plus a Shakers report capped by five-figure Golden Age heat. We also got a big X-Men reality check, a spicy absolute Batman annual Resell surge, and a trip through the scariest powers, the saddest MCU arcs, and Dan Slott Spider-Man era Decoded. What is up, comic fans and friends? Welcome back to Comic Issues Daily on the I Have Comic Issues YouTube channel. My name's Bryant, and let's dive right into it. All right, the first story of today is about a comic shop owner in Sunset Beach, North Carolina, who was arrested on obscenity charges after allegedly handing out comics at a police-run trunk or treat event. According to Rich Johnson, the owner, Kathleen Lincoln, at Marvelous Issues, was charged under North Carolina's Statute 14-190.1 with a Class G felony, and bail was set at $20,000. Reports from parents claimed that the material were inappropriate, and one title identified was Grendel Tales' Devil Hammer from Dark Horse from 1994, with a not for children label and full frontal male nudity on one page, non-sexually explicit. Community reaction came fast. A mother publicly thanked the department for acting quickly, while another parent said one comic their daughter received was fine, but the one their son got involved half-naked women. Johnson noted he'll continue following developments. Meanwhile, this is a stunning twist for what started as a store promo with flyers at a family event. Should adult label comics ever show up at kids' events? No. Drop your thoughts below. And then from real world controversy to real world horror, Clayface has wrapped. Alright, filming is officially wrapped on the DCU upcoming Clayface movie in Verity Jora. Sorry about the names, I apologize. Reports that star Tom Rice Harris marked the moment with a behind the scenes wrapped image from his trailer. The film is positioned as a complete horror entry for the DCU, with James Watkins directing a screenplay by Mike Flanagan and Hosen Emmy. The trailer walls are scrawled with notes like, "Are you going to leave me?" and "Do you know what paradise is?" teasing at unnerving tones. The story centers on a B-movie actor who injects a substance to stay relevant and ends up reshaping his face and form, becoming a living mass of clay. It is a psychological driven villain focus that leans hard into transformation horror. Release is slated for September 11th of 2026. Horror fans, will a full-on horror take make Clayface the scariest DCU villain yet? Tell us, let us know in the comments. And speaking of new chapters, Robert Kirkman just scored a massive debut. Alright. Justin Epps reports that Skinbreaker #1 has become one of the largest, biggest selling debuts in years. Despite expectations that the Energon universe would dominate, Skinbreaker by Robert Kirkman and David Finch took image #1 spot for September 2025, even outselling Transformers 24 and Invincible Universe Battle Beast #5. Excuse me. The series is following aging chieftain Enro, preparing to pass the Skinbreaker weapon to his heir, Anak. Epps frames the win as a big signal for original IP. Readers showed up beyond established franchises, proving appetite for fresh worlds when a powerhouse team is involved. Image called the launch a launch that felt like an event from page 1. Did you grab Skinbreaker #1? Sound off your first read impressions. Let me know. I did not pick up one. Maybe I should go try to hunt one down before they get too pricey, like Walking Dead #1 or Invincible #1. You never know. And from fresh wins to tough loves, let's talk X-Men direction. And Nicole Drum argues that the current Age of Revelation event feels familiar, revisiting dystopian futures and time-spanning tactics that echo past eras like Days of Future Past and Age of Apocalypse. with Doug Ramsey connected to a utopian setup hiding darker truths. The pattern reads like the past repackaged, dulling impact. Drum's bigger point, the constant churn from Krakoa to From the Ashes to Age of Revelations, and another relaunch, X-Men Shadow of Tomorrow for 2026, keep crowding out quieter, character-driven storytelling. She hopes that upcoming phases uh, let smaller stories breathe so bigger threats land fresh. Do the X books need a breather? Tell us your favorite era and why. And after that palate cleanse, let's celebrate indie masterpieces. And Maxwell Fisney highlights independent titles from Image, Boom, IDW, and more that rival or outshine the big two. The list crowns landmarks like Saga from Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, a bold sci-fi fantasy epic about a family surviving an intergalactic war. Then we got 8 Billion Genies by Charles Soule and Ryan Brown, a high concept, one wish per person chaos story and Deadly Class by Rich Remender and Wes Craig, a punk noir assassin school saga. And Fisney also spotlights the many deaths of Layla Starr from Ron V, the long running Walking Dead by Robert Kirkman, Kill or Be Killed by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, Assorted Crisis Events by Dennis Camp and Eric Zadowski, and It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth by Zoe Thorogood. The thesis, without heavy editorial constraints, these books push the median. Which indies from this list jumps to your TBR right now? And then from acclaimed reads to a lightning rod release, Absolute Batman annual sales are up there, or resales are up there. Rich Johnson reports the Absolute Batman annual 2025 issue number one surged to $25 to $30 per copy on eBay, well above cover, and landed at the week's top seller. The demand is tied to the controversial Daniel Warren Johnson story, in which the Absolute Batman targets far right thugs and police attempting to damage an immigration campsite near Gotham's borders. One widely shared scenes becomes the focal point online. And just clarify, Batman, I've recalled this or listened to other people's videos and stuff. Batman has always fought the corruption and to seek justice. And in Gotham, there has always been some corrupt cops. But remember, his best friend is a cop also. FYI, just remember, just let you know. But debates spilled to social media, including a back and forth with Mark S. Miller, who called the story cringe and argued for a different actual threat focus. He challenges users to compare murder statistics, and XAI Grok replied surface numbers reference in the disclosure. Whatever your stance, Johnson notes the controversy has clearly fueling sales. Paying $30 now or wait it out? Tell us where you land on the controversy-driven spikes. And let's keep the chills going. How about the scariest superpowers in comics? All right, Jack PQ rounds out the powers that are more nightmare than wish. And first up, we got invincibility, the fear of the unseen stalker. We got life force absorption, like rogue or parasite, draining skills, memories, and energy. And you got monster transformation, Hulk, lizard, body, mind. Hulk and the lizards, like their body and mind breakdown, dream manipulation, Dr. Destiny, weaponizing sleep, die in the dream, die for real. He also talks about death touch, instant horrification decay, or horrifying decay, mind control, like Purple Man. And if you remember Jessica Jones season 1 on Netflix, you can get a full understanding of that horrific power, or what can be done with that power. And possession, a self-eclipse by an evading entity. And then you got necromancy, the raising the dead. And then you got the penance stare from Ghost Rider, soul shredding guilt feedback. In the apex power, reality warping, rewriting time, space, and even existence. I mean, those are all very scary powers. And if you had to face one of these, which is survivable and why? I have no idea. But let's go from cosmic powers to human pain in the MCU Heartbreaks. And Ollie Bradley traces devastating MCU paths. Wanda Maximoff loses family and love repeatedly. Pietro Vision twice, then the family she conjured, spiraling under the Darkhold. Gore, so Wanda's had a tragic time. Then you got Gore becomes the MCU's most harrowing villain through deprivation and cruel deity. Suri endures T'Challa's death, and Ramona murders, pushing her toward. And Suri had to endure T'Challa's death and Ramonda's murder, pushing her towards vengeance. And then there's also Helmut Zemo, broken by Sokovia's loss and imprisoned with the lingering grief. And then you got Yelena Belova, shaped by trauma and Natasha's death. Loki, who chooses duty over happiness to hold the multiverse together. And Spider-Man, sacrificing relationships so others can live in peace. Which arc still hurt the most for you and why? Now let's pivot from pathos to craft and talk about Dan Slott Spider-Man and explain his era. All right, Ryan Sarnato recaps Dan Slott's long run from Brand New Day, contributions to taking the helm and shifting Peter Parker's into the scientist and future Foundation member. The Seismic Swing, Amazing Spider-Man 700, where Dr. Octopus takes Peter's body to become the superior Spider-Man, a controversial turn that evolved into a definitive or defining modern arc. Post-Resurrection, Slott launched the multiversal Spider-Verse, introducing variants like Spider-Gwen and Spider-Punk. Influencing later films, he closed the event with Clone Conspiracy, Osborn Identity, and the Red Goblin Saga before ASM 801 delivered a heartfelt epilogue about Spider-Man Everyday Impact. Are you Team Superior or Spider-Verse? Which pillar of the Slott's run wins it for you? And all right, collectors, it's time for the daily CovrPrice Daily Shakers Report. So let's see what's moved yesterday from on CovrPrice. All right. So the first thing we got is Phantom Lady number 17 from 1948. This is the Matt Baker, and in a CGC 8.5, it sold for $13,600. That's pretty good five figures right there. And then we got Amazing Spider-Man issue number 15 from 1964 and a CGC 9.4, sold for $12,900. And then we got another Phantom Lady. We got Phantom Lady issue number 23 from 1949 by Jack Kamen in a CGC 7.0, sold for $10,850. And that's going to follow up by Tales of Suspense issue number 39 from 1962, Jack Kirby, first appearance of Iron Man in a CGC 4.5, sold for $6,500. And next we got Marvel Mystery Comics issue number 3 from 1939 in a CGC 1.0, sold for $4,800. And then we got Captain America Comics issue number 12 from 1942 in a CGC 3.5, sold for $3,120. And we also got issue number 33 in a CGC 3.5, also sold for $3,120. And we're going to follow that up by Picture Crimes, issue number 1 from 1937 in a CGC 5.5, sold for $2,880. And then we got everybody's favorite mutant first full appearance in Incredible Hulk issue number 181 from 1974 in a Raw, sold for $2,851. And we're going to round it out with the Web Crawler Amazing Spider-Man issue number 300 from 1988 from Todd McFarlane in the first full appearance of Eddie Brock's Venom in a CGC 9.8, sold for $2,849. So those were some big movers today. Which sales surprised you the most? Were there any, or were there some that you thought they should be higher? And let me know which of those you're hunting to have in your collection. And last, we want to talk about, I got the Comic Channel Origin live stream that I do every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And this Sunday, or this past Sunday, I interviewed Paul from Sector 2815. Great conversation, great creator. Check it out. He has a lot of shows that he does weekly, so please check that out. Also, this Sunday, I'm going to be speaking to Randy from Swarm of Comics, and that's going to be Sunday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Come check us out. It'll be a fun, good time. We'll talk about YouTube and creating your channel, starting at zero and going to where you are now, and cover a lot of tips, tricks, and things that we can learn from each other and from you in the chat. All right. Also, want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this channel, and who is Ron's Comic Closet. And if you use code I Have Issues at checkout, you'll get 20% off your first order. And Ron has new releases, back issues, and a lot of other collectibles. And so go check out Ron's Comic Closet. And if you've had fun hanging out, hit the like and subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Share this with a friend who loves comics, and drop your picks for tomorrow's lineup in the comments. And I hope all that your issues are comics, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye everybody.